Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror PSA presented by Scary Nerd, and as always, we are your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm Saul.
And I'm Angie.
The following is a public service announcement.
Following the events at home, the Abbott family now face the terrors of the outside world. Forced to venture into the unknown, they realize the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats lurking beyond the sand path. That's right, we watched 2020/2021's A Quiet Place 2.
They kept getting pushed back and finally came out.
Another pandemic
Yes.
pushback movie.
Yes, we did Spiral from the Book of Saul last week, which also was pushed back.
3 years.
Yeah, so the recurring theme on this...
Yep,
It
2021
might be,
movies were all from 2020.
So anywhere from 2019 to 2020 to 2021 movies. Basically whatever came out this year, no matter what.
Pretty
was
much.
When it was
supposed to
filmed.
come out.
Yeah, when it was supposed to.
It did just come back to theaters for the Halloween
That's
season.
true.
I did see that.
It's still on, wait, what is it? Peacock or Paramount?
Paramount.
That's right. All right. Initial thoughts.
I dug it. I enjoyed it. I thought it did open up the world a little bit more. I will say that I still don't feel like A Quiet Place is horror.
Here's my feeling on it. Angie, I'm with you. The first one left me with blue balls. Like, I want more.
For sure.
And the way that one ended is it makes you think that they're all coming there.
Yeah,
Like,
but
is
they killed two. You
They killed
just see
two?
the dead
Yeah.
one.
Okay, I just want your initial thoughts, guys. I don't want to do the fucking movie right now, all right?
It wasn't bad, but it didn't feel complete because you know they're going to do a third.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I have to say a few things, okay?
But this is just your initial, right?
This is
'Cause
my
you yelled at us.
Okay. I do want to say my initial, but I also want to do a little background on the trivia stuff that I read from
Okay.
Krasinski. Okay, Krasinski didn't want to be involved in the part 2 at all, not at all. One of the producers was like, "Well, just pitch your idea. We're gonna make it 2. You don't have to be
Yeah.
involved. Just come in, pitch your idea."
Isn't that another reoccurring theme? Because you
Yeah.
did not want to do the first one. He didn't want to make a
So
horror
he
movie.
came in, pitched his idea, and then basically they asked him, and he wrote a script, and he's like, "Fine, I'll just fucking do it. I'm
Like,
already
here.
basically doing it."
Yeah.
Here.
So I want to feel that he probably didn't want to do it for a specific reason, whether he was too busy and didn't think he could give his full attention to it or whatever it was. But this is a crap fest. I do not care for this fucking movie.
No?
This, okay, and we'll get into more detail,
Okay.
but there's a lot of things in this movie I'm like, really? Like, this thing just seems like most sequels, hastily thrown together and just fucking shove it out and get it out in the theaters.
It does have its problems, but like I said, it doesn't feel complete.
It
Just
doesn't
be-
feel
just because of-
horror.
Not just horror, it just doesn't feel complete because you're left with an open-ended ending again.
Yeah, like they did
Yeah.
with the last one.
Yeah.
It just ends. And you're like, no, give me finality.
And
Like,
no,
I need
and-
finality.
And the thing about this one is I could see that if it was a planned trilogy, right?
Yeah.
Because the second in a planned trilogy is never
Yeah.
the greatest.
Yeah.
I
Halloween
mean,
Kills.
Halloween Kills. It's the second in a planned trilogy, so you know they're not going to have a satisfying
Yeah.
ending for anyone. And I feel like if you were for sure be like, okay, we have a full trilogy planned from the get-go,
Yeah.
I can excuse the second one kind of not giving you any sort of, good feelings at the end of the damn
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, this full movie feels to me like they just throw a bunch of shit together and like,
There
who can we
were
get
a
into it?
lot
Let's
of,
get
I
Cillian
believe-
Murphy, like whatever, man.
I do feel like there were a lot of stupid things that didn't make sense that would be like, okay, you've been doing this for what, probably a better part of 2 years is what we understand that this invasion is, or
Yeah.
however long you
Okay,
Yeah.
you
well,
would-
no,
you would
well, okay.
adapt
Did they ever establish in the first one how long it had been?
I think they
I wanna
had
say
like
something like-
numbered
They
days.
did say
it was
something.
like 400 and some
Oh yeah,
days.
it was 400
yeah.
something now, right?
Yeah.
So they've been into it over a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Yeah.
say. I don't know how much fucking 400.
year and a
something
half,
days,
close to
like-
2 years. But you would think, okay, you are living with these circumstances.
No. How many months are we into this pandemic?
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing about it, though.
Yeah, but it's not like you catch COVID if you make sound. Okay, it's a
Yeah.
lot of fucking difference.
You
all right?
got
Well,
things that are trying to eat
hey,
you if you make
They
sound.
were out there saying, you might catch COVID if you don't wear a mask. It's just a little piece of cloth to put over your
Yeah.
mouth. And people are like, what? Yeah,
But you
so
have,
no, I
you
can
have
completely
things that
forget
are trying
and tell
to
how
eat
they...
you by
yeah.
the noise you're making, but at the same time, there's little, like, let's just get into it. My problem was with when they got to the island.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, okay,
You want to skip to the end already?
here was my problem with the island part. We're skipping ahead, but
That's okay. Where was your first problem? Because my first problem is I could start from the fucking beginning of this goddamn movie.
let's go there then.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I was along for the ride.
All right. All right. So this is day one, right? When they see it happening, we start on this movie in day one, right?
Yeah, we
It's
get the
going to the
flashback.
baseball game. He's in the flashback and it's showing how it started.
Which I really liked. I thought it's
I
small
enjoyed
town vibe. It looks like it's a desolate town, but you're like, oh, it's just small town. Everybody's in
Okay.
the center of town at the baseball game. Like,
Okay,
I get
but,
it.
but
me of the
here is my
crazies
thing.
at that.
From the first one to the second
Yeah,
one, right?
I was getting crazy vibes too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from the first one to the second one, right? Mm-hmm. In the first one, he has all those newspaper clippings where it was like, oh, it's by sound. It's by sound. Like he's got all those things, like newspaper clippings that are like the whole world's trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But then this one comes and shits on all of that. Basically saying
they just
it
show the fuck up.
happened on one day, and then as soon as they go into the bar and he's there with his daughter, he's like, shh.
Yeah,
Like,
he gets it.
already fucking knows it's
Yeah.
sound. It's sound. They can't see us. It's sound. So where the fuck is he getting all these newspaper clippings if it happened and affected their fucking town like just one afternoon? Because I'm assuming after that everyone had to go into fucking hiding.
Well, yeah. See,
would
I
think.
don't know though, because again, if you're in hiding and everything's supposed to be quiet, maybe they did figure it out a little bit. Still, like maybe it didn't take over
But
every
where
part.
is he
But yeah,
getting
I
these
get that.
newspapers? The
No,
guy,
that I'm with you on.
Homer Stokes, by the way,
Homer
from
Stokes,
that
yes.
played the little grocery store guy
Yeah.
from Oh Brother We're Out There.
Disintegrated.
He's watching TV and he's like, I don't know, it's a bomb or something. And
Yeah,
granted,
the
that was in another
terrorist
country.
attack, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this is happening. This is a coordinated alien attack, which we come to fucking learn, right?
Yeah.
I don't
It's
even know if
aliens.
we would say it was a coordinated attack because to me it just looked like something fell out of the fucking sky. So it just like a big rock come by and they were just living on the rock.
No, I'm
like,
assuming something came out and it shot them out everywhere. The alien, the mothership blew her load everywhere, and then all these things came out.
See, I didn't take
And
that
wherever
at
they
all.
landed, they landed.
I was going more. It gave me more Cloverfield vibes.
Yeah.
Like something just fell into the atmosphere and then it
Well,
lived on the rock. See, that's what I thought.
I took it as more of a coordinated attack. If he's watching it on TV and it's happening, I assume that was another country because I thought
because they were like it's a bomb or something. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming it fell out of the sky there too. Like it just
Yeah.
all hit
So, yeah.
all over.
So
is
if
what
there's
my
more
point
than
was.
one, that's coordinated
Yeah, it's
already.
coordinated.
It's coordinated
No,
enough.
I mean because if a bunch of shit just entered our atmosphere, it would go everywhere. So I don't think it would be coordinated.
See, I'm
I would
assuming
think
they're
it's just a
ships,
bunch
though.
of. See, I wasn't. It
I
looked
don't
like
know.
just like a rock falling
That's
out
what
of
it
the
looked
sky.
like to me, like a meteor.
Yeah, and so I'm like maybe just multiple ones
So
fell
then
to
it-
Earth
so
because
then
they were
if,
just
like-
traveling at the same time.
So basically, you're thinking like a meteor came out and these things were living on the meteor or something.
Somehow it didn't look like a ship to me at any form.
Well, it
See,
was
that's
in,
why
it
I
was
was
in the
thinking more
clouds. It was in the
Cloverfield.
clouds
It
and in
was
the
in the
distance. So I
clouds.
think they don't want to give you too much shit or whatever.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
But these
it's
clearly-
for sure alien.
these are clearly
life form,
aliens, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they come from the sky. And I do love how everybody just stands up in the baseball game and is like, well, fucking get out of here. We got to go home.
Well,
Something is
when
falling out of the sky.
When we watched it the second time, I think when we had the captions on, I think the umpire was like, all right, I think we should all just go home.
Yeah, that's the game.
Or somebody said, like,
That's
yeah,
the
I'm
game,
calling
guys.
the game, guys.
Yeah.
Like something's going on. We need to go home.
No matter
the
what.
sky is falling. Baseball
guys,
is not important right
yeah,
now.
if this was real life, like, you can't call the game. We're down by 2 still.
It's way
You
over
would
there.
have
We
you
got
would-
time.
You know how far that is?
It's like, do you see what's coming out of the sky that normally
My
doesn't?
son hasn't got him to bed yet.
Yeah, no, I really liked the whole falling to Earth. Like I said, definitely gave me more Cloverfield than Alien, like with ships and stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that many problems with this, and like all the movies we watch, I was high when we watched this for the first time, so maybe I just didn't see the little nitpicky stuff like you
No,
did. Like
how is it nitpicking if what you do in the second one basically shits on what you said in the first one?
I don't
okay,
want to
then
throw
if
stones, but I know how you feel about Halloween Kills, and that's going to be an interesting
Okay.
episode
I-
of your
I
sake. 'Cause
can't-
this one
I
sucks.
cannot wait till we get to that because there are good and bad things about that, and I'm willing to concede some things
Yes.
with that movie, knowing that they planned a trilogy at least.
See,
You know
I'm-
what my favorite part of this movie was?
What?
My whole favorite part happens within the first 5 minutes of this movie when they're running around on the street and an alien jumps on the car and just smacks a bitch to the ground. Like out of nowhere. I was like, no, Paul, you got to see this because
That's
he
the-
missed
that's
it.
the
I
best part.
rounded it. I was like, he
forgot
smacked,
about that.
he
Yeah,
smacked a bitch
I
down.
looked down to write a note or something. She's like, she starts cracking up. I was just like, we gotta watch that again. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that was my
oh, shit.
favorite. I'm like,
Yeah,
he
that
straight smacked that woman.
That was the best part of this whole fucking movie. not gonna lie. I mean, everything else, I'm like, really? Because in part one, you established this, and now you're shitting on it, you stupid asshole.
I liked this movie, other than the issues that I had with the last movie. Like, I thought that it did give us some good kill scenes, finally, of the aliens. We did get
Yeah.
multiple, like, we got the blue balls were finally released. But again, I had a lot of issues with having a baby when there are aliens falling out of the sky in the
Yeah.
first one. And I have this one even where, like, when they first open it up to where they're like at the house. It's right after the events
it's
from the
just-
first one. She takes a baby into a burning building. I'm like, bitch, no! Like, give it
what
to
the-
your kid.
Fire bad, run away.
Like, she tells the boy, stay here. I'm like, just take your little strappy thing on. Don't walk into a burning building with the baby.
No, fire bad.
And
Okay.
again, I don't know how safe it is to have a baby in a box. Even with the little thing. I'm like, you're going to give
Even
that
with the
baby.
oxygen?
No,
yeah,
you-
like, that can't be
No,
safe
you-
or healthy for that child.
As soon as I saw the oxygen, I'm like, okay, that's gonna be a plot point sooner or later. they're
Yeah,
gonna-
of course.
Of course. I kept thinking of. I'm going to give a shout out to a podcast. Killer
Oh, yeah.
Psyche.
Killer Psyche.
Killer Psyche. We've been enjoying. It's a former FBI profiler, and she is involved in some cases, and then she just analyzes because she used to be a clinical psychologist before
Yeah.
she came to the FBI profiler program. And she talks about Ted Kaczynski. And what I kept thinking is, and she talks about Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, and how when he was a baby, he got sick and they had to put him in the hospital and they left him in the crib for like 2 weeks just by
It's 3
himself.
weeks.
3 weeks.
Parents weren't allowed in.
No one could touch him. Like they would just pick him up to change him and feed him, and like no other human contact. And it was saying like the mom after that was like he changed. Like,
He was never the same.
He was never
the same,
happy
baby.
anymore. And she talked. It's I'm sure it's a term, but she
Maternal
talks
deprivation.
Maternal deprivation. That's what it is.
There
She's
you
like
go,
that's an
okay.
actual thing. Like if you deprive children of touch and all that, like it fucks them up.
Yeah.
So
Touch your
I just kept thinking that don't touch your babies. I was just yelling out, touch your babies.
Hug your babies.
Hug your babies.
Hug your
Don't
ba-
touch your babies.
You just said touch.
I didn't say. I
If
said
you
if
don't
they
touch them,
I said if they
so-
don't get touch and they don't get nurturing.
don't
but I didn't
get
say
love.
like touch
That's what I
them.
They
meant by
don't
then.
get love. Babies
what I meant.
need
Love your
love.
babies.
Yes.
So
I did
that's
like this
that's what it
scene.
kept making me think of. I'm like,
Yeah.
the baby's gonna grow fucked up.
I know, 'cause
and,
it's
and
in a
then
box.
and then in this world, like it's
He's
just
gonna
gonna
be a serial
add to
killer
it. Yeah.
in this world.
Well, it's like the kids from.
He's gonna be Shane.
This movie
There you
did
go.
remind me of Bird Box. The first one did too.
Oh yeah.
But it reminded me of the kids from Bird Box. Yeah. Well, no, because I've also read the book of Bird Box, and she raises the children to not look at things. So,
Yeah.
like, when they first wake up, even when they're babies and they open their eyes, she trained them by smacking them with, like, a little thing
Wow.
to
That's
train
terrible.
them from, well, it was, like, either that or they're going to die at some point because they can't see these creatures, right?
It's
So
one of
I'm
those things
like,
where it's funny and horrible. At the
yeah,
same
I was
time.
like, so what is she going to do to protect the baby? Because you can't just have a baby in this
Yeah.
climate without any kind of thought into that.
Okay, here's my other thing. Right, we watched the first movie,
Mm-hmm.
and we assume that she was already pregnant.
yeah.
But then we're getting there, and it's day 400 and something.
Yeah, she wasn't.
So she
already
got
pregnant.
knocked up
Yes.
after this fucking happened.
Yes, because the pregnancy is 10 months.
And this is 474 something days, yet there are still supplies in that little fucking store that she can just go and grab one roll of gauze and just the things that she needs, not, everything in there
I know,
because it's the
take it
fucking end
all.
of the world.
She goes around the hydrogen peroxide. I'm like, grab that.
Like, yeah, why isn't that store been cleaned out already?
That
I'm like,
vodka you
literally
threw on his foot isn't gonna
Yeah.
hold for very long.
Yeah.
Get the fucking stuff.
I mean, vodka's better than nothing, but when you just went to the
Yeah.
fucking store,
Yeah.
Oh, the bear trap scene when he gets his.
Yeah.
I love
Oh.
that scene because that kid that I don't remember his real life name, but Marcus, the son, I was like, that's what would happen. You would just
Oh, yeah.
scream in
Yeah.
fucking agony. Like there's nothing you can do, and like even the mom's like, I know, shh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
you can't do
Okay.
anything. Like
okay,
Paul's got something to say. I can see it in his face.
okay. How do you take an amp,
yeah, I
cut
had
the
this
cord
question.
off, plug something into it, and there's still fucking power?
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, does this
How
thing
does
run on
that work?
batteries? I don't get this.
I don't get it.
Duh, doesn't work.
You at
Doesn't
least,
work.
Like it has to at
Take
least,
any appliance you have and cut the cord off of it, and then plug something into it and see if it fucking works.
No.
No.
Yeah, see, that was taking me out of it too, because like I get it, it's a horror movie, but everything else has been real world with the aliens, right? So
Yeah.
it hasn't been like a magical world, other than they're just aliens. Like that's the sci-fi part of it. If
You
something
got
showed up,
hungry aliens running around eating things.
I don't remember where I was going with this. Was
I
it?
don't either.
You lost your
We're
train of thought.
15 months into this fucking alien invasion or whatever, and there's still supplies everywhere. People are just now
Oh no,
getting crazy.
Okay, the amp thing. That's what I say. Everything else is real world with the aliens and stuff, except for that. Like that, it's completely like you need electricity for that.
Yeah.
And we talked about it with Malignant too, like how she was just gonna find a VCR and the thing, but she doesn't. She goes back home And that makes sense.
At least it makes, she goes to her mom's house, who probably is like, old lady, she's still got a fucking VCR.
Like, I can overlook things in the sci-fi world, right? I can overlook things in a horror movie if you tell me that those are the rules beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, if you're telling me that this is set in the real world, you can't just be like, this has power when it's supposed to be
did we
plugged
skip
in.
a scene where it was like, okay, there's a battery pack, or she hooked something up,
something.
or she's got something to make it fucking portable, but no, I'm like, you just cut that fucking cord off.
just
Yeah.
cut it
That
off.
doesn't work. That
Like,
doesn't work.
Like,
Broke
I get it. We're not asking questions about why the ear thing works. I totally like that. At least makes sense because it just is a feedback.
It makes sense
Yeah.
if it affects the aliens who are auditory, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
So
okay,
that
that
makes
makes sense.
sense.
I can give that.
But
Like,
the whole no power thing, and like that's way too big of a jump for this kind of a movie. It'd be like
I don't know.
if an alien Ripley just walked outside. I'm like, no, that bitch is in space. Like you can't.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know,
I'll just crawl over to the other pod and then I'll go in. Like,
yeah,
what?
like no,
What?
like
I was like, no.
things have to make sense if
will
you're making
freeze.
sense in this world. Like
Yes.
that's the rules. So John Krasinski for 3, make it.
Maybe
make
he
sense.
was like, look, I'm just going to write this and they're going to be like, God, this is terrible. We'll never make it.
Hey.
And then they were like, okay, sure, Jim, we'll make it.
Jim.
Damn it. I
His
think they call
name's
him
not
Jim.
Jim.
See, I wanted Dwight to make a cameo. Like,
That would have been
false.
And then he gets taken out because
Yes.
he said
Like,
something.
There are two schools of thoughts on the aliens. It's
Yes.
like, poof, they just take them out.
I did like the whole scene between her and Emmett where he was like, how does that thing work? She's like, I don't know. It just works. I'm like, fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
She doesn't
Right.
know. She didn't make it. But I also I really liked the transition to the present, even though I didn't like the ending to the last one. I thought it married the two. Like we get
If
into
they-
the
Yeah.
day one and then we see the fallout of the town, right?
Yeah, but if they wanted to really marry the two, we needed that last kill.
we
that
did.
We didn't
Oh,
get
yeah.
in the
We
first
did need
one.
some kills.
We
Yes.
needed that last kill.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I don't. Yeah, this movie's got a lot of fucking problems.
Paul had issues.
Okay, here's
But
my
I
other
dug
question.
it.
Wait, but here's
Dug
my other
it.
question. Why was there this weird animosity about Emmett? Like, I just kept thinking, like, did Emmett
Yeah.
fuck her at some point? And they were like, that's the guy mom cheated on. Like, they had this weird animosity, and especially with the daughter, who she's like, you're not my dad. You're nothing like my dad. I'm like, bitch, I'm just here,
Yeah.
and I just opened the door for
You
you guys.
guys came to
I
my
never
house.
said I was your dad.
I
and what was that whole situation where she was like, did you know it was Lee the whole time when you saw the fires and you
I
never
just-
thought to come for us?
I
I'm like,
just
come
thought
for
that
you
was
for
like-
what?
Yeah.
You guys,
Yeah.
because they had a whole fucking barn
Yeah.
and they had all their shit together.
Yes.
So why
And
wouldn't he have
did-
come?
Yeah, why didn't he be like, why didn't you come to help me and come? Like, we could have worked the farm together. We could have lived. You had plenty of space for other fucking
know,
people.
and
That's
he-
what kind of what I felt like is they resented him because
Yeah,
he
and
didn't
I'm
come
like,
to them.
I'm like,
Yeah,
what
but
did you
Emmett could have
want?
just been like, he saw my fire too. How'd you guys know I was fucking here?
Yeah,
Like,
what is it like when the fire wasn't there? Like, you should have come. Like, is that what fucking like? I don't get that whole scene.
because that was the same night when she lit
Yeah.
the fire,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like he even missed the fire.
because from the events of the first movie to the end of this movie is only 5 fucking days.
Yeah.
right. It's less than a fucking
Is
week.
it 5
Yeah.
days? I thought it was like
No,
3 or
no,
4.
No,
Yeah,
there's 3. I think 3 in the first one, and then these are like 2 more days or whatever.
I don't know. It might have been. I don't know. I know it wasn't that long.
yeah.
I think the IMDb trivia said it was set basically between first and second. It's 5 days have gone by.
yeah.
So it's been a real fucked up 5 days for these people, and I get it.
Yeah.
And they're still going through some shit. But there's a weird animosity with Emmett.
You want to talk about fucked up time? When she walks into that burning building with the baby I mentioned earlier, and she goes downstairs and it's all flooded, and she's like rooting around there for the oxygen tank or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm like, girl, you just gave birth.
Like,
you
how
got
the
like
fuck
an
are you
open
walking
vagina
around?
wound. Get out of that water.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Oh, and then the thing
Just
with the kid,
gave
too.
birth, and then they walked how many fucking miles
Yeah,
And
away?
then the thing with,
like-
and the
Take
thing with
a
Marcus,
break
he
or
gets what
something.
his freaking leg almost
Oh,
chopped
and
off.
then he's limping
Yeah.
around everywhere
Yeah.
afterwards. Yeah, I'm like, you're not climbing ladders with that, Marcus. Come on. He does. He climbs out of that little
Yeah.
hole thing, and all the hinges. So quiet in
Oh.
this rusty
yeah,
steel mill.
that huge metal lid, and it was like just lifting it. I'm like, oh,
And
look,
it barely made
I'm
any
like,
noise when she
everything.
closed it. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no way. It would have
everything
been
is so
slamming
everything is so
down.
well lubricated in this abandoned building they're in.
Yeah.
And plus, like Emmett was talking about, like it's when she started screaming that we came here. But they showed that they slept up top,
yeah.
and like that's where
Yeah.
she was. So does that mean like he carried her down each time to put her in the thing, or like why wouldn't they just
Well,
stay
maybe
there?
maybe they lived down there, but then he's like, well, I don't want to live next to this body, so he just throws it back upstairs or somewhere. Like they made a space for her. Like,
Maybe.
who fuck knows, man? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. They have this weird animosity with Emmett's character, and I love the fact that like when he's like, "You can't stay here," and she's like, "Emmett."
Yeah, she said,
And I'm
"Show
like-
me your face."
I'm like, what was gonna change? Like, I get it. Like, we used to be friends, and I'm like, it's everybody for themselves.
It's the end of the world.
It is the
Can't
apocalypse.
point
Okay,
with the dudes
so
in
that
the-
is my other fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
It's the end of the fucking world, and he's like, people have changed so much. People have changed so much. All right, and now I'm like, okay, I watched The Walking Dead. I watched all these other shows. Like, people are vicious. So I was expecting like the worst of the worst, and it's like you just have these dudes that use the little girl to put the noose around
you
him
did-
just to steal their stuff.
You didn't like the coastal hillbilly cannibals?
I'm like, that was so like.
That's what I called
That
them.
was so like non-confrontational. I'm like, you
It
set
was
that
very
thing up,
quiet. I know. I'm like, why are you not making any noise?
and as
Because,
soon
like,
as
even if he would have had that shit on, right? They would have
As
heard it
soon-
and came
Yeah.
and heard other people.
as soon as he put that on, I'm like, you hold all the power. What are you doing? Just
Yeah,
standing
just
there.
get up, bro.
All you need to do is shake that bell and like
They're coming.
call their bluff. Start
Mm-hmm.
shaking one of those bells or something.
like,
Like,
they're
go
coming.
ahead. You want to steal our stuff? You better hurry.
Like,
Nope.
they're coming.
Nope.
I know. When they start taking her stuff off, I'm like, fuck that. I'd be screaming. Like,
Yeah.
no.
You know, like what's gonna happen if you're either gonna kill me or take all my stuff, or the things are gonna come and kill us all. I'm gonna take my chances with the things, man.
Yeah. Well, we
Fuck
do
it.
find out that they can't swim, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
They can't
Yeah,
swim.
It made me think of Signs when it's like they don't like water. I'm like, well, maybe the water doesn't kill them. They don't know how to swim. So either way,
I'm just saying that I like the aliens and Signs and that whole route because like we've built up an immunity to the shit in our water from growing up and living through Earth.
It also makes me think of that Tom Cruise War of the Worlds, where it was like they all get the fucking bird flu or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
it
get
was like-
some sort of
Yeah, and a quote unquote experts on alien shit would be
Mm-hmm.
like, well, there would be diseases that we would have, just like
yeah,
there would be
we built
diseases
up
on other
tolerance, yeah.
other planets that we've never encountered. So all that kind of shit.
Well, the other thing I have a problem with too is Regan's an idiot making her decision that, oh, I'm going to go investigate this one thing because she hears the radio. She hears that music. And
She doesn't even hear it.
I don't even know what the fuck it is. She hears,
Marcus hears
no,
it.
Marcus
Yes,
hears
there
it.
you go.
And that's the thing too. I'm like, when she leaves, I'm like, you can't hear
that
anything.
was my fucking
Right?
that was my point. Is like you're deaf.
Like
Your
anyone
hearing-
can sneak
your-
up on you.
Your hearing aid is not working the way it used to.
It's the
Or
whole
at all, or
it's
whatever
the
you
whole the Freddy's scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Freddy scene where he takes his the Bigfoot kid. He takes his his hearing aid out. I'm like,
But
that's the whole.
to me,
fucking-
it's like
that's
you
our
are
whole
the-
world.
Because exactly, it's like you are the last person that should be going on a hike or an expedition,
Okay.
whatever need be, by your fucking self.
Granted that it's a world where there can't be loud noises anymore.
Yeah.
So she's kind of okay in that aspect. But still, if one of those things just happened to be rolling down the forest for no fucking reason,
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, there's a stupid kid over here. I'm gonna fucking go.
And my thing is I don't know, like when she screams, because she does scream a little bit when she's on
Yeah.
that train thing, and then they see.
Yeah, and she can talk. I didn't
Yeah.
realize she could
Oh,
talk.
yeah.
I don't
Deaf
remember
people
from the
aren't
first
mute.
one.
They're
No, I
just
didn't know
deaf.
her though, because I
Oh.
don't remember her talking that much in the first one.
Oh yeah, deaf people talk
Yeah.
all the time. So I'm like, but how much would you notice the sounds that you're
Exactly.
making? I don't know.
You would
and-
feel them though.
Well, yeah, you would definitely feel it, but like when she screams out or whatever, wouldn't like she's just sitting there, and then you see the one in the background. I'm like, bitch, come on.
Like I said, I just don't get it. And you knew she was gonna fucking do that too.
Oh, I
It's
know.
like, come on. I was like, nobody's
And
gonna pay attention to the
I'm
kid.
like, why did you think you could operate a shotgun and the sound thing at the same time? Like
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Well, because it's portable and you don't have to plug it in.
Yes,
apparently.
there's
It's
no
just
electricity
power
needed.
everywhere.
Yeah, I don't get why they just started trying to find others either. Like, they figured it out.
yeah.
They had their barn. She could have gotten the rest of the food out of the cellar thing
Oh,
if
yeah.
she had just hurried and,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or at least some of it.
or had the kids fucking help.
Yeah, but no, you don't go looking for people, especially after you give birth. Give it a week or something. Like, you got food. You figured out how to kill them. You've killed the ones close to your house.
Yeah.
Like,
And maybe they were like, we don't want these fucking people because every place they go to ends up getting fucking flooded for some
they
reason.
do. They flood every place they go.
Yes.
I did like Emmett's whole demeanor. You can tell when they finally do meet him, though. He's like, I can't help you. Please,
Yes.
you won't survive. Get away. Like, he's not telling them that
Yeah.
they need to leave because he doesn't want them there. He's telling them, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing for you here. I've lost everyone that's
I,
close to me.
I get that he's lost everyone and he's like, I really have nothing to live for and like whatever. But at the same time, like, Yeah, it was that weird animosity that they had with him. That was like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happened? What's the backstory on this? Like, why is there just weird animosity? Like, what makes you people think that anyone owes you anything? Like, you guys have been living like
Yeah.
This world,
awesome
yeah,
by
this world,
yourselves the whole
nobody
fucking
owes you
time.
anything.
You didn't help anyone. Like, you didn't mean. They didn't really show anyone in the first one except for that one old guy that
Yeah.
wanted to die anyway.
Yeah.
so-
Well, he killed his wife or something at that point, didn't he?
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't know if he
remember.
killed
maybe.
her or she died. I mean, who knows?
We do get a squishy baby scene though, and she finally pulls the baby out of the box for once in the whole movie. She does like she's burping at him. I'm like, look at this squishy baby. Yeah, this is my note. I'm not sure how safe it is just to store a baby in a box. Because they do. They're just like, oh, baby's acting up. Put that baby
Put it
back in the box.
I feel like this whole movie was set up for nothing.
See,
We don't get a good climax. We don't get anything. Like, everyone dies for their own stupidity, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Like the hillbilly doc guys.
Yeah.
It was your own stupidity thing. Like, you thought that was gonna work.
I know, and I'm
forever.
like, how long have you guys been doing this, and why
Yeah.
has no one taken? You aren't good at this. Like,
No.
there had to have been another group that came through that could take you guys
I
out,
know,
like way
like-
easier.
Like, they didn't even really. They didn't even show any weapons or anything.
No.
Like, they may have had knives and shit or whatever. But I'm like, okay, I know you can't use guns and all, but I don't know. Like, it just. I'm like.
I know. Like, why
Walking
are we
Dead,
so
like-
scared?
Yeah.
Like anyone that's any bad person in The Walking Dead was worse than these fucking doc hillbillies in this fucking movie, right?
Oh.
They're the coastal hillbilly cannibal motherfuckers.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I called them.
I don't no
Because
No.
that's what they were. I
Like,
think
I
somebody in
feel-
the in the makeup was like, "What do you guys want these to look like?" Coastal hillbilly cannibals. You know.
No, it's
Just
just it's
general.
like I want a number 4.
Was
okay,
was
just
one
here's
of them
here's my list of
burned,
makeups.
too? I'm like, why are some
I don't
burned?
know.
Like, what is that?
Yeah, I don't know. They tried to. They were trying to. I feel like they were trying to make like a real Hills Have Eyes like vibe with these guys, but it was just. I don't know. It was nothing. Like it was nothing. Like I wanted there
was
to be
getting
more.
different vibes. From
Everything needed to be amped up 100 times than it was in this movie.
This. Yeah,
And I
get-
think that's what my major thing is.
They dressed the set pretty. I mean, the train station. I'm like, those aliens just
Yeah.
took girls right out their heels. Like, just picked them up, took them.
See, I was
heels
like,
on.
I was like, maybe there's probably some dude that's still alive that has a fetish and is just playing with all these shoes.
Ew,
Like,
no.
he opened them up like, oh yes.
I was like, Reagan needs to just put some of those shoes on instead of walking. Like, heels are better than just walking with bare feet on train tracks. Like,
You can't
come
make,
on.
You can't make noise though.
The other guy had shoes on though.
Yeah.
She was just
Yeah.
bleeding all over the
He-
place. I'm like, nowhere
Well,
on this whole journey did you guys find any shoes that would maybe fit
Luckily
you?
for him, the first thing he did was get quiet boots,
Quiet
and,
boots,
and
yep.
lots of lithium grease to lubricate all the hinges and everything wherever he
His
goes.
fucking mind.
No
Oh.
pain meds for his wife though. She was
No.
in terrible
Well-
agony at the
Well,
end.
I don't see why not when the fucking local pharmacy still had
Just-
everything there.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, there were still
We're okay.
prescriptions up there.
We're 15 months in, and they're like just shopping. Like, oh, I just need the one gauze.
Mm-hmm.
I just need. Oh, I'll save the peroxide for next time. Yeah, bullshit.
No,
There's
just-
no community
This-
anything anymore.
Yes,
Yeah,
this
no.
is the fucking like this is the wrong way to go about making a post-apocalyptic kind of, especially in a fucking small town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in a fucking small town.
After seeing how many of those people died, Emma and you
The
are
first
probably
day.
the only ones really left. There might be one or two more other families out there that have
Yeah.
figured shit out, but
Yeah.
y'all are on your own. And
No.
if they didn't come to get the medicine yet, they will at some point.
Yeah.
So if you need it, fucking take it.
Unless I don't know. I was gonna say unless it's kid stuff, and you don't have kids, but I don't know, man.
I mean, they did, but they wouldn't. They did
I'm not
let their
saying not
kid take
them.
one, and then that one died. Remember?
Like I said, do we want to get to the island part that I wanted to talk about earlier?
Yeah, go
Is
ahead.
that what
Go
it's
ahead,
called?
yeah.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead. It's time to go to the island in this crap fest.
so somehow, some way, they figure out, or they have a theory that they're playing that song to try to get,
Beyond the sea.
that it's a coded message or whatever it may be, but somehow they figure that out. I'm like, okay. So
Yeah.
when you
That
find
was all
out,
that stuff she took
Yeah.
from her dad.
yeah. So when you find that out, okay, you're putting a lot of faith into that people are going to figure that out. And when people do figure that out, you have this little island new utopia that you've created that's all hunky dory, but yet you have no fucking lookouts for the people that are going to fucking try to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
I know. What if it's just, any one of the dock hillbillies who's like, let's just go to that island
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah, like
Because
any of
you-
them
because
could have.
you're gonna
Like,
see
at any
that,
moment.
yeah.
Like at one point, someone will be like, I wonder what's on that island over there.
Yeah.
And if they were living on the coast,
Or see the fucking bonfire they had
Yeah,
in the middle of the night. Like,
yeah,
wait, are there
yeah.
people over there? Let's go over there.
Because here's the thing that bothered me. Okay, you would think you would have some sort of fucking lookout that would have realized that one of those motherfuckers got on the boat and somehow ended up on that fucking island.
yeah,
Which right there
Yeah.
to me was like, are you fucking serious? That's where it kind of took me out of a little bit.
So
It's
did
like,
that alien fucking Max Cady his way to the island? And Max Cady is a reference to Cape Fear, where he hides under the car when they go to
See,
try and
that's-
leave and get out of town.
That was the only really thing that was the big thing that took me out of the movie. It was like, okay, the fucker is gonna float on a boat that's gonna happen to magically float all
To
the way
the
to
island.
the fucking
Yeah.
island. And nobody has a fucking clue that this goddamn thing is there until it starts tearing everybody the fuck apart.
Or was
Yeah.
it not the one that was underneath? Was it the one that was on top, like going wow, wow, like it was trying to? It looked like a fucking like a guy on stilts about to fall over,
probably
like
was.
walking on top of the boat.
'Cause you
like,
would-
"Oh, oh, oh."
You would think that somebody would be like, okay, we have to plan for it as a just in case, and the fucking thing happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically like in Walking Dead. What was the governor's? What was their fucking
Woodbury.
town? Woodbury.
Woodbury.
It's basically if they had Woodbury with no walls.
Yeah.
That's what the fucking island people were like.
And they're like, well, I don't know why people are killing us.
What's
They're saying,
wrong?
I don't get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you no.
I did.
And then
I
the-
did
oh.
like the story though that the man on the island gave to him. He's like, there was 12 boats and only 2 got out. I'm like, that tracks.
But still,
That
here-
tracks
for
again,
humans,
more
yeah.
of the things that Paul said about how stupid these people were. You knew these fucking creatures were based on sound, and yet you figure, okay, I'm going to get into a car and drive around the fucking island making all this goddamn noise, making sure this motherfucker follows me to try to get away from it.
And then stand by the door.
Yeah, and then stand by the fucking door and get killed that way.
I have to go back.
Emmett,
Like, no.
Emmett was smart. He was like, give me the keys. Don't
Yeah.
talk about your family right now.
Yeah.
I need those keys. That's the important thing. And yes, he gets the keys.
See, I kept expecting something really bad to happen. Like the people on the island were actually like just murdering people or doing something. Or where do you think all this meat came from?
No,
Like,
we've watched too much.
all that.
Walking
See, and
Dead.
that's the thing. Like you can't have that out and have these people that watch these things to be like, these are what people would be like in the apocalypse, and they'll be like, oh hey, we're just here. So when he hears that noise and goes around the corner, and before you see that boat,
Yeah.
I was thinking like, okay, what's really happening? Like,
Yeah,
what's
that's
really going
that's what
on?
I was too. I was
Yeah.
like, what is he gonna
Like
find
what's
over
what
there?
secret are you gonna find right now? I have to go back and save Reagan. And like, no, it's just,
And
it's
see,
the
I
boat.
was a little confused because I was like, well, maybe one of the coastal hillbilly cannibals got on the boat until I saw like he was
Yeah.
like run, and I was like, well, you didn't even like
Make a lot of noise.
right, and like wouldn't it have already attacked? Like it doesn't seem
I know
like
what
it's really.
did that just show up like 2 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Like was it just like I'm gonna take a nap now? It's been a long night of traveling through the island. And
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe it laid down on the boat because it couldn't figure out how to swim. It got really
Passed out.
tired, passed out, woke up at this new island. It doesn't know.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Walk around and
And do they don't even eat humans though. They're
Kill
just
some
smacking
morons.
bitches and like
They just
clawing
kill.
them.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't remember. Did they show in the first one? Did they eat anyone?
I don't think they
fucking
did.
remember.
I don't
Well, you
think
would
they
think
eat
that they
anybody.
do eventually.
They have to eat fucking something, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do they fucking eat then?
I know, and especially if their goal is to, kill the humans or anything that makes sound, eventually they would run out of food if they're trying to eat us or eat
Yeah,
other
and
things.
I don't get like we don't get that either. Like we're not told like what's their end game, what's their
Yeah.
goal, what's the aliens' purpose of being here.
They're just there
If
to
it is
fuck
just
shit
a
up.
cosmic fucking accident, then okay, then they're gonna deplete their food, like you said.
Yeah.
And just there's gonna be no humans, animals might live, like whatever.
Maybe
Fish.
this
just
is what
all
happened.
sea life will be the
This
only thing
is-
that's left.
This is what happened. They destroyed their planet because they just ravaged it, right? It eventually got
They
so
ate
bad that
everything.
it broke apart, and then they just pieces of it entered our atmosphere, fell to Earth, and then that's how they're here, and they're trying to do the same thing.
And they
to us.
somehow didn't burn up in
Yep.
leaving their atmosphere
Totally
or
makes
entering
sense.
our atmosphere
On that
or
flaming rock, because it was flaming
Yes.
on the way in.
Yes.
so a billion light years away, some planet exploded. So what happened was they blew up Alderaan, and
Mm-hmm.
now the chunks are finally getting to Earth, and It's
the
full
butterfly
of-
effect, really.
There
Is
you
what
go.
It's
happens.
full of whatever these aliens are. Do they even have a name? Did anyone name them?
I don't
No.
think anybody's named them yet.
They need a name
These
so I can tell you how shitty this fucking movie is.
These things ended on the East Coast. Apparently, Bird Box was on the West Coast. It just fell out of the sky. I don't know. Different spots, different aliens.
I guess it's just where we were. in
Just
orbit
the
at
planet full of
time.
nightmares was out
It's
there,
just-
and
yeah,
apparently
yeah,
it broke
fucking-
apart and hit Earth.
Yeah, what the fuck was Marcus gonna do when he was out looking around? I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't
man?
know. I'm like, you're just up
Like,
here
what
making
were you
fucking
looking
trouble,
for?
bro. Why
Like-
are you even walking on your
Like you
fresh
shouldn't be
wound?
walking. Like you fucking
should
like
be
you're
fucking-
hobbling
yes.
around, and I'm like, what if you need to run? What the fuck's gonna happen, man?
I wrote Marcus is a shit babysitter, but he learned from his mom, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't even really blame him.
Apparently, nobody watches these fucking kids.
No,
this is
because-
what happens. This is parents that don't watch their fucking kids.
I
Like
know,
this is
and the
literally
mom-
the
the
little
mom
one
was
died
sad.
because they weren't fucking watching it. I'm like,
Exactly.
yeah.
The mom was like, I'll be back in a matter of hours. It's going to be fine. I showed you how to do everything. I'm like, but you don't have a bottle.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see any baby supplies. So what's this
Yeah,
baby
I
going to
don't
eat?
know. Well, then maybe they had it in that weather bag. They had
Let's
vegetables
hope so.
and
And formula?
vegetables and formula. Apparently,
Unless
I
she
guess.
just pumped some real quick.
Yeah,
I
she's
don't know.
like, yeah. Well, she's fucking superwoman if she's like gave birth and fucking just walk 20 miles to this,
Mm-hmm.
walk 5-10 more miles out to the store to pick up a few things, not everything.
pick up a few.
Yeah, you know. Ugh. Go to the bar, pick up the bar, get the fucking shotgun behind the bar, and
Yeah.
you know, whatever, man. Where's the sporting goods store in this fucking town? Because
Yeah,
that's the
one.
store you need to be going to.
Yes.
I don't fucking know. And okay, here's my other thing, and I may have said this on our first podcast. And by the way, I think this is the first movie that we've done like the first and second like sequel.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
back to
think it
back.
is.
I think this is the
yeah.
first. We've done sequels, but we've never done
We've
one
done
with
one
the
and
first.
two, yeah.
Here's my thing, and I think I may have said it on the first podcast, but why not just have sound going all the time? Like,
Yeah.
why be quiet?
Yes.
Like, why not just play music?
Because
Just
that's what Evelyn
play-
does with the water in
Yeah.
both movies.
Yeah,
Like
why
she
not,
uses the
why
water
not just
to
have
infuse
water sounds always running?
Yeah.
Like play speakers with water sounds. I'm like, oh, it's water. We don't go over there.
Yeah.
Like they'll just fucking learn, and then you can have a whole community of people. You don't have
it. Right?
to fucking.
Because
Yeah.
if you've ever been next to any body of water, it's loud.
Yes.
They do that in the first one too. It's-
Yeah, because they go behind the waterfall, and he
And-
talks to him.
Yeah, he talks to
He
him
talks
and he
to the
lets
sun.
sun
He's
yell.
like, "Hey,
yeah.
it's okay. They can't hear it here." Then why not play water sounds everywhere?
Yeah.
You fucking moron.
'Cause
You
the-
steal all this audio equipment with these speakers and these microphones and everything for you to try and figure out how to make a hearing aid for your daughter. And like, play water noise,
Mm-hmm.
record the river sound, just play it around your place.
Or just put heavy metal music in the background somewhere.
Yeah, or, you know, and I get the I saw the whole radio station earpiece thing coming. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So
I
just-
was like, Reagan, you're so cute.
You're
honey,
telegraphing your
but,
punches, Jim.
yes.
Like, come on. You're not going to walk a day by yourself. You don't even know what the fuck's out there,
No.
girl.
You can't hear. Somebody could fucking sneak up on you.
You have been living on the farm with your parents for the whole time. The
You've been
whole
sheltered.
time.
I know it's not time for your goddamn teenage girl angst to fucking rear its ugly head because like we got shit to do.
Yeah.
Your
like,
stupid parents got knocked up for no fucking reason, even though these things hear noise
Yeah.
and that's how they
Let's
kill.
bring an infant
Which
into
Jim
this
learned
world.
day one in the fucking bar, and the do drop in or the do in or whether the
Yeah.
drop in.
Yeah.
He did because
The
he
drop
covers,
in.
he covers Homer Stokes' mouth.
Yeah, and he's like, shh,
It's like, stop fucking praying. You're going to get us all killed.
Homer, we don't need reform. Shut the fuck up. Gonna kill us. And this stupid bitch with her phone over here.
And even in the flashback,
Mom!
it was so
Mom,
hard.
you would know. You would have those fucking people be like,
Yeah.
they fucking hear
Yeah.
the sound. Hello, Mom.
I'm not going to lie. I get annoyed when anybody has their actual ringer on because who the fuck do you think you are that you're so important? You need
Who-
to hear your phone
Okay.
at any moment in the day.
Seriously. And if you're expecting a call, you're holding your phone. You can feel it vibrate, right?
Nobody needs to have their ringer on. Like, just turn it off. Make
Yeah.
it vibrate.
That's
Nobody
another.
wants to hear your shit.
That's another goddamn thing of this movie. Like, no, if it was an old lady, I would understand. Like an old lady, like if the mom was actually the one on the phone in the bar and she was calling the daughter, that would have been more believable for the fucking ringer to happen.
Right?
But that girl was what 19, 20s. I'm like, this bitch will never fucking.
No. And she'd just be texting her mom. If she hung up if she couldn't get through on the phone, she would just be like, okay, there's something
I
going
know,
on
if
with
you
the
hear it-
things. And just, she would just be texting.
All you hear is the text note. I'm like, okay, we can deal with that. But just fucking,
That's not bad.
who turns the ringer on?
And then the one thing to me that was so Hollywood is the fact when then they were driving around, they happened to they ran into each other. Because remember how?
Oh, when she drives by him.
Yeah, they're like, oh look, that's
Yeah, what I thought was hilarious was like, that's dad, and she tries to like the whole bus scene or whatever, and then she stops, and then Reagan and Lee come out, and then as soon as that other alien smacks that lady in the face, he just grabs her and turns her. I'm like, you just left your wife and kids there, man. Like, you're like, nope, forget it. Everyone for themselves. Like, damn, Jim.
I gotta
that's
save this
fucked
one because
up.
it's the one closest to me.
All right, well, I got one. No, she was like, I got one.
Hey.
And she took the others.
I was responsible for this one.
I
This
did
one is
my
alive.
job.
I brought her home.
Like, I did my
Those
job.
two were on you, lady.
I also wondered why, like, how long, as I don't remember the first one, like, on what day it was when they leave the town. I'm like, how long did they stay in their house and why did they end up having to leave?
I know.
Because the Emmett
again,
guy and his wife stayed there until she was
Yeah.
screaming in pain.
okay, but again, they've attacked your town. Like, we start on day one. Like,
Yeah.
day one was not a, oh, there's something happening in other countries. I wonder what's happen. I wonder what's going to happen
Yeah,
here.
day one
Like,
was when the
day one
the
was
sky
it
fell,
literally
yeah.
happened in your fucking town.
Yeah.
But yet everyone was like in their houses for months on it. Like, what the fuck, man? Like,
Mm-hmm.
none of this shit. It's so sloppy. That's what makes me so angry about
And
this
if
fucking movie.
if more people did survive, right? Even in this small town, like cans and shit, any food in that grocery store or that general store would
Yeah.
have been gone.
Yeah, that place would have been cleaned out.
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
I
no
always
way.
thought the first one made sense because it's like, okay, you guys have a farm, you have ways to grow fresh food, and they
Yeah.
had fish and stuff from the lake or whatever. So I'm like, all makes sense.
Okay.
That's good. Got it. But yeah, when he's like, there's no food. I'm like, then what are you eating?
Yeah.
Like, because you didn't tell us where your food was. Do you have food?
Yeah.
Like, are you just waiting to die? Because he doesn't even help
Hey.
them until they come into the building.
He
He
had
lets
a-
them get in that bear trap
He had
and fight another thing because that's the first time you see one of them die.
Yeah.
He had a big bottle of fucking vodka. He was just gonna drink himself to death. That
Yeah.
was his plan.
Well,
He
I
was like,
mean,
well,
hey,
I have this.
He lost his kids. He lost his wife. He didn't think there's anybody else. And so, yeah, when Evelyn was like, why didn't you come? I was like, bitch, he's been busy.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, well, you
He's
didn't
been
come to me
processing
either.
his
Like,
feelings.
why?
Like,
I just
listen
like.
here.
I don't know what it is about Cillian Murphy, but I never trust him in movies. I'm
Paul
like,
can't.
what is your angle?
Paul's
man?
always like,
I
there's
always
something
thought he's
going on
gonna
with
double
him.
cross them. Like, what is he gonna do? Like, he's gonna sell Reagan for money. Like, I don't know. Fuck, something weird's gonna happen. And even then, when he finds out, I'm like, all right.
He was that way during 28 Days Later, too.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just
Doesn't
his,
trust
if it's
Cillian
his
Murphy.
characters. I don't know if it's his characters or anything. Or like, I'm just like, no, you were Scarecrow. I don't trust you.
Is
There's
that why?
something-
Because he was a scarecrow? Is that
I
the first one?
maybe I don't know. I just any movie that he's in, I'm like, what's your angle, dude? I
Mm-hmm.
don't trust. It's his eyes. Let's see. He has
And see-
dead, black, cold eyes. And
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
I did get that because I did have that with what's his name from 28 Days Later?
Paul
as
Rubens.
Well, no, he was the Paul
Pee-wee.
Rubens. He has a great scene in Buffy.
Pee-wee needs to be in a fucking horror movie.
Another one.
No,
been.
oh, what if they made a Pee-wee's Playhouse movie that was a horror movie instead?
They could do
Like,
that.
like if he was getting ready to bring the show back, kind of thing, and then fucking zombies apocalypse happens, just something crazy like that, like a fucking Pee-wee's Playhouse zombie movie. That is what I fuck. Not Rob Zombie, just a zombie movie. I do not want Rob Zombie to
Yeah,
have
see,
anything to do with
and
that.
28 Days Later has one of the guys from Doctor Who, Christopher Eccleston, I believe is his name,
Yeah.
Chris Eccleston. And I didn't watch Doctor Who until way later, and I had already seen 28 Days Later and all that. So the whole time I was like, is he a bad guy? I don't get it. But he has that, like, it's a European villain look about
Maybe
it.
that's what it is.
You.
I think he'd make a great like Bond villain or something.
Ooh, that would be
Like,
good.
I don't trust
Yeah,
you.
but I'm just something about him. Like, what's your angle, man? I don't trust you. What are you after?
Yeah, and I never watched Thor:
the
The Dark
cheekbones,
World
I
either,
don't know.
because then I did get into Doctor Who, and I didn't want to go back to hating him because he's my favorite Doctor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
This movie's got fucking problems, man.
It has
Again.
problems. But I like I said, I was high, so maybe I was just along for the ride during the first time. But I dug it. I could see what they were going for. Like I
Yeah.
liked that Reagan and Marcus got, they both grew some balls in this one.
Yeah.
Like Reagan's like, I'm gonna do this on my own. It's like, all right, and maybe it's not the perfect time for your little independent trip
Wait a
right
minute.
now, but
Wait a minute. I don't remember the first one that well, but didn't their whole shit happen because of something she did? Didn't like she leave or she go do something?
She went
or-
ahead of.
Yeah,
she went to look at her little brother's thing, at her little brother's memorial
Yeah,
thing.
so she left and then came back and all shit was broken loose because so every
It
time this
wasn't her
fucking
fault.
shit
No.
but every time
No,
she
no,
leaves
no.
every time she leaves, shit gets fucked up.
Well, hey, if she's
So
the
if
only one
everyone-
holding the family together,
How
then
is
maybe
she holding
does need to.
How is she holding the family together when they fucking need her and she's not there?
Why did they need her?
Because the first one,
Yeah.
the mom was pregnant. The dad took
And
the
how
boy.
is that her fault?
The dad took the boy out to go get fish and talk and just calm the fuck down for a minute. She needed to stay there with the fucking mom. That's why it's her
No.
fucking fault.
No,
She
the
was the
mom got
babysitter.
pregnant all on her own. It's her
I'm
responsibility.
not blaming the pregnancy, but you can't just be wandering off every fucking time when everyone's like, I need help with something, and she's gone again. Oh, okay, we just had a baby.
Nope.
The dad died.
Nope.
We all
For a
need to
while.
figure out what our next movie is, and she just fucking up and abandons them again.
Like, I'm gonna go for a walk.
So you know what? If there's the third one, I hope she dies. I want her to die.
Not everyone wants to be a
She
part of the
deserves it.
family. Not everybody likes
then
being
she
close
needs
with their
then
family.
she needs to go and leave and just leave them
She
the fuck
did.
alone.
She
no,
left.
her whole thing was I can save everyone.
And she's trying to.
She's not, because apparently you can't even hear that fucking radio station in the valley where they just were.
Yeah.
So then all they have to do is they can all live in the valley, and then the aliens will never die.
Well,
They'll just
There you
eat
go.
bears.
I
Beats
know.
and Battlestar Galactica.
I get the whole, like, it's on this radio station, right? So we need to find it. But at the same time, I'm like, who's even listening to the radio?
Are there solar
Exactly.
panels that are powering everything?
I
They
don't
had
know.
power everywhere.
I
on
know,
that
but I'm like,
island.
how did the
like,
island get power? Like, how
maybe
did
it's-
everyone still? How are we 15 months into this and there's still power everywhere?
I
there
don't
was
know.
power everywhere. But maybe the powers that be were
Okay.
just like, leave it on.
Yeah, they forgot to turn it off.
Yeah, but it doesn't make itself, guys. That's the fucking problem. It runs out. Like if you don't keep,
never
if you don't
bothered-
keep making electricity, there won't be any more. That's the
I've
fucking problem.
Never bothered to look into how electricity is made
See,
or how
I'm
it
like-
gets to us.
see,
I've
like,
never even cared about that.
Apocalypse happens. I'm like, I'm going to wherever they have solar panels, and hopefully I can figure that
Well,
shit
see,
out.
I'm there with you. Solar panels were always we need solar panels. You need a fresh water source, right? Like you need the basic
Yeah,
minimum things. But I'm like, you guys have that at your cabin.
I know. Like you're leaving. Like,
there.
why are you leaving the farm? Like that was
It
the other
made
thing.
no sense.
I'm like, okay, that one building's gonna burn or whatever. You still have the fucking house. You know how to kill
They
them.
had all that corn in the silo too because the
Yeah.
kid almost died in it last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have everything there. Like what was gonna come of you going to this fucking terminus basically?
Yeah.
Like what was gonna happen there that was so much better than what you had at home, even though your husband's dead?
Yeah.
So I'm like, there was nothing. Like why were we leaving? You
They
still
had
had the
every-
whole fucking house, man.
They had
No
every reason to
clue.
stay there. They had
Still
everything
had
they
their
needed
fishing set up. Still had the farm set up.
Yeah,
Like,
Still
it
had
didn't
everything
make
needed
any
there.
sense. Like, she had just given
They
birth.
left.
Stay home.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, what's the urgency in going to find Emmett so you can yell at him about him not saving you
And
when
at
you
the-
didn't save anyone else?
And at that point, did they even know he was alive?
No, they
Yeah.
didn't until he saved them.
Yeah, yeah.
And he allowed them into the thing until they sought him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that they went with here's what the fires mean, because you knew it was other people, but I was like,
Oh yeah.
is it other communities? Is it other just individual families? Like you didn't know, right? And at least you
Yeah.
know, like this one was just Emmett and his wife at Terminus, basically, just being like, well, she's dead, and
Yeah.
my boy's dead, and
Well, his boys died on the
Can't-
first day. I'm like,
can't help you.
they're like that day he died. I'm like, that day? Like, you guys were already in your car. What the fuck happened? Like,
I know.
If they
Yeah.
made
well,
it out,
if they got in a wreck, and who knows? I mean,
Yeah, I
a
don't know.
million things that happened. The way the street was in the town, like
Mm-hmm.
the whole. Okay, this is a small town, right?
yeah.
Why is there a bus?
I don't know.
Yeah, that.
Why
that-
is there a bus?
Yeah, that doesn't.
Where's
make
this
sense.
fucking bus taking you from one end of Main Street down to the other one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he just went through one alley and bam, he's at the baseball field.
And
Like,
and at the baseball field, I would say there were about 75 to 80 people,
Something.
right?
yeah,
Not a terribly huge amount of people, but that was enough to drain the whole town.
Yeah.
Because we see that first shot, like there's nobody walking, there's nobody driving except for
Mm-hmm. yeah,
him.
everyone's at the baseball game.
Yeah, so
Everyone's at the baseball game. Why is there a bus running around?
Yeah.
Where's this bus coming from? Did the fucking aliens take a bus from the other town? Like
Maybe.
we missed the drop off zone. We had to get this bus to come over
They
here.
took
It's
public
like,
transit.
public transit, and still they had to sit next to bus people.
we were aiming for grid 9.
You know, there's an old lady on that bus eating a boiled egg. Like,
Do you
there ain't
have
shit
change?
going on? She's just cracking her
Just
boiled egg.
Thick ass glasses. Do you have change? Anyone?
I think I missed my stop. Yep, not giving any fucks.
My daughter-in-law's gonna pick me up. Who is this bitch? The aliens are.
I don't know. I liked the opening up of the world. I can see your issues with it though, but I was along for the ride. Like I said, I dug the chemistry between Reagan and Emmett, and obviously it was meant to like be a stand-in for the dad from the first one for Lee.
So what does that tell you, folks? In the apocalypse, you need to have a man or you're going to die.
No, in
That's
the
what Jim's telling you.
In the apocalypse, you just need to not get
you-
fucking pregnant. I've always said this. When Lori got pregnant, I was like, bitch,
What is wrong with you?
Condoms, pull and pray, something. Come on.
I know you have needs, but you do not need to make more people.
Yeah, she really needed to have sex with Shane like 2 days after fucking
Yeah.
Rick was like, well, we just left him.
We just left him.
He was dead.
Yes.
You told me he was dead.
He
But
was
you only have
close
sex
to
twice.
dead.
Yeah, let's not get into
I
the
thought he
Walking
was
Dead.
dead.
He looked dead to me. Did you even go in the room?
Did you check?
I don't know.
Did he flatline?
Was this all just
He
a
was close,
ploy to
though.
get into my panties?
He was-
Because, hey, boys will do some shit to get into some panties. I'm not.
They moved his room, so I'm sorry. I couldn't find him.
But don't worry, I put a bed in front of his door because I'm just cool like that. Anyway, this isn't The Walking Dead.
He'll be fine.
That was A Quiet Place too. Another of our 2021 movies. Even though it was supposed to come out in 2020, it did
Yeah.
not. The
No, it
world ended.
What a crap fest.
Paul was not happy.
I
With
do
what we
not
had
care
delivered.
for this movie. I think it was hastily thrown together to make money, and then it got pushed back because of the pandemic. And now that it's out, I'm like, yeah.
If to me, I would say it's not a
Boo.
horror. Like I said, I still
Yeah.
don't think it's a horror, but I'm down for the sci-fi-ness. I always like creature features anyway. I
See,
like
but it-
looking at aliens. So I'm like, I could get into it. It was fun, but I could totally see the issues.
If you're
going
gonna
to
make it sci-fi, though, then okay. I'm glad they added like, okay, we confirm that it's aliens. We all pretty much knew it was aliens or
Yeah.
Yes.
something, right? I'm glad that they showed that we get to see them come to Earth or whatever, and get a little more, detail into that, or even though just a little bit more, like it's something, right?
Yeah.
But overall, I feel like this was a cash grab sequel, and even Krasinski's like, I don't want him to be involved in it.
Yeah.
And then he just he shit on a page and gave it to them. They're like, this is great, Jim. We'll just fucking do it.
I need to have that kind of pull.
Yeah,
Like, I
I'm
wrote
like,
this
can
on
I,
a weekend.
Can I write a movie and then give it to Jim and be like, hey, I have this movie. Can we make it? And then be like, ha ha ha.
Probably
Just
if you
kidding.
stop calling him Jim.
No, I will never stop calling him Jim. Fine, I'll call him James then. What's his real name? John?
John
John.
Krasinski.
Nope, it's Jim.
It's Jim
Jim
Halpert. And his wife Pam.
Jim L. Halperin.
They have children.
Cece, and I don't know what the fucking boy's name is.
I don't remember what the boy's
You
name
gotta watch
is
The
either.
Office.
The Office season 9 got really muddled.
But that was a quiet place too.
No,
We're getting off into tangents.
Yeah.
Jim needs to
Jim
make
tangents.
Jim needs to make The Office and Quiet Place like crossover. Like I want all of those characters. Like imagine The Office.
Meredith would just be dead because Meredith ain't giving up her loud heavy metal for nobody.
That'd be interesting to see though. They're all stuck in Scranton.
Michael would have
in
been
the
dead
office.
years ago.
Stuck in the Scranton office when the apocalypse happens.
Anyway, that was A Quiet Place too.
Yes.
Next week we will have another 2020 film.
That was
we don't know
probably
what we're
pushed
gonna do
back. it was probably filmed
Most
8
likely.
years ago. and
I
it's
say we
pushed
go
back.
for it just for the hell of it.
Uh,
We'll look at the list.
yes,
We'll figure it
We'll
out.
figure it
We'll
out.
figure it.
We do still have Halloween Kills coming up at some point this month. We're gonna give you guys a couple more weeks just to get it seen and everything. We
Yes.
want everybody to.
It's on Peacock,
It
for
is.
Christ's sake.
It's on
You can all-
Peacock.
you can all
Peacock's
watch
like
it.
$5. Just get $5
Yes.
worth of Peacock. It's worth it. It's a fun glory movie. Anyway,
Okay.
My main thing on my notes, I took 4 notes. I took 5. My first note was Homer Stokes.
Homer Stokes.
My last note was a lot of little issues, but no real main one. Like it had little issues that built up to nothing for me. There was no main climax that needed to happen. Like the alien radio station, that whole issue. I'm like, that was no different than when you were in the field after the bear trap,
Yeah.
or that was no different than when you had to kill that other one when you in the train car, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
those were equal kills to me. Like there's no grand climax
well,
at the
see,
end,
maybe
right?
I went into this expecting to have blue balls.
Okay.
And so maybe that's what happened.
But
'cause
compare
I
it
was just
to
like,
compare it to the end kills climax in the first one to this second one.
They
I'm
don't
like,
kill it at the end. Remember?
first one.
In the first one, they
Yeah, they
don't
don't.
kill it. It
yeah,
goes-
they do. They
no,
kill that
don't.
one. They
They
kill
don't
that
show
one.
you. They
I
kill
know
it.
they don't show it to
They
you.
show the-
but they have like 3 or 4 of those creatures there at the end, right?
Yeah.
That are all converging on the house and all that shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
they kill 3 or 4 of those things in the entire movie, and none of them are very climactic in the second one.
Yeah, well, so
that's
what
my
I'm,
issue.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't have any expectations that they were going to do something grand.
Okay, well,
so
to
maybe
me-
that's why I was just along for the ride.
Okay, well, to me, if you're making a sequel to something, you have to do better than the first. And I think that's what makes shitty sequels. Like, you had 3 or 4 attacking them at the end of the first one, right? And then this last one, it's one that followed you into the radio station, and you did the same audio trick that you've been doing since the first one, and then you killed him. And now it's like, at least
know.
we're broadcasting the feedback now.
And I wondered too. I'm like, was there no other like microphone that you could have just used it at the houses, like before you guys ran away from it? That way you could at least kill
Yeah.
it and be like, "See, I showed you. This works now. Let's
See,
take
okay.
me to the radio station."
I will give a little credit to that with Jaimon Hansu. All right, that's how you say his name. The man on the island. I don't know if
Yeah.
did he ever have a name? Is
No,
that's how he's
was his
listed in the
name.
credits,
Yeah,
right?
so, yeah.
Jimon or Jaimon. I think it's Jaimon Hansu. I'll give him a little credit for his character. Because to me, he was like, the mayor or the guy was in charge, right? He was in charge of the island. Like, he seemed like he was the one that, here's our backstory. Here's how everything happened. So I get that he was like, I need to get this away from the population. Let's get the fuck out of here. We're going to go in the car. We're going to honk and all that shit. Like, so I'll give him a little bit of leeway to be like, all right, get it away from the people. They know how to kill it. We'll figure it out over here.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, but still, you just had one. Like, that was
I
a
know.
worse climactic ending
It
than the
was
first
just
one.
one. Just use your thing.
It's one.
Because she
You know
shows
what?
us in
Wait,
the end that
they
it
had-
just when it's close to her, she doesn't even have it
Okay.
on the speaker yet. She just turns it on
Yeah.
and it starts hearing it.
Okay, here's another thing. You have a car.
Yeah.
You have a radio. Turn that fucker on. Just leave it.
There you go.
The thing's gonna attack the car.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You telling me you can't find another station that has fucking feedback?
Like, fuck your car.
Like, literally, just any AM station never comes in clear. Like, right now, I could drive down the fucking road.
They could have just put
AM
it
stations are like,
on the Beyond the Sea station that they have there.
yeah, but I'm saying it doesn't even matter. Like, you distract the fucking thing, right? And then you shoot it when it opens up its fucking face shield or whatever to hear shit, right? You didn't need to drive all the way out there to do all
I
that.
know when Evelyn is when she's trying to take the one out before they get stuck in the. I don't even know what that thing was.
The train. When she got the medical kit?
No. Evelyn,
Oh, Evelyn.
Evelyn.
the mom. When
they're in the-
when they're in the
silo thing?
end, the silo thing that like just they close all the time. What is that fucking thing?
The grain silo, or you mean?
No, the thing in the
In
train
Terminus.
in Terminus,
Yes.
like that thing that they kept getting into that they couldn't lock
Oh,
themselves in.
yeah. What? I don't know
What
what
is
this.
that? Yeah.
I assumed it was some sort of like burner or something.
That's what
like,
it looked like to me. I was like, are they just in a
yeah.
stove? Like,
yeah,
what the
like
fuck
it was.
is
It was
that?
some sort of like huge burner or something. Like you just throw shit in there to make a fire, right? Like,
yeah.
because there
I
was a
didn't
little
get it.
window in there to see in. So I think
Yeah.
I don't know what that place was. If it was some sort of a,
I think
it was some sort of
a steel mill.
a steel mill.
Or something?
I don't know. Well, then yeah, you would need fire. So I mean, I would assume.
Yeah, because
I
there's,
don't know.
I noticed it last night. There's the jacket that Reagan is wearing when she leaves. It says something steel. So I
Alright,
think she
so
got
yeah.
it from the building.
Okay, so yeah, it's the Terminus is a steel mill, and they keep going into the thing, and really, you have no better way of making sure that thing doesn't close on you than a
Than a
fucking
towel.
towel, like just one towel.
I know you
And,
could
like,
die
did-
in here and suffocate
Did you
really quickly. But
Like,
just
yeah,
a towel.
I didn't get the whole air thing at first because they didn't explain it. It was just
No.
like beep beep beep.
I know. I'm like, is he just OCD about time? I'm like,
I know.
what is this?
I'm like, did you time it? He's like, he'll leave in 5 minutes if we just sit here. I'm like, is that how long it? The first time I was like, is that how long it takes? Like, you like average time 3 minutes and then they move on. So I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, I didn't get the whole air thing because first of all, it wasn't actually fucking closed because you can't close it if the towel is there. So it was probably open a crack.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. There's so many fucking issues with this movie. Craptastic. I'm giving it the seal of approval of craptasticness.
Correct.
God damn it, Jim Halpert.
I'll give it an
I feel like Dwight right now. I'm like, Jim.
It's more if
Jim,
you've seen the first one for me, you gotta watch this one.
Jim.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I expected to have blue balls at the end of it, so the fact that I got to see them kill at least some monsters.
Yeah.
Oh, but what I was going to with the thing that I was talking about, and that's what I was going to say. When she's when the kids are stuck in that burning thing or whatever we've decided
This
the
is
stove
called
thing.
the stove.
The
Right?
stove.
And she's trying to kill that one upstairs with like she's got the oxygen tank and everything.
Yeah.
It walks right by her after the water starts and its head is open. I'm like, aim your little gun
Shoot it.
I thought that's
right
what
in
she was
there.
going to do the first
like,
time.
why wouldn't you just do that now?
And okay, you need that oxygen for your baby. Like that was the whole reason you were going to go.
And they went through it all that
And
second
you're gonna
time.
blow
No,
it the
yeah,
fuck
and then
up?
like I know you got 2, and you were going to blow the first one up or whatever. But I'm like, there was no other way you could make noise besides that.
Yeah.
No other ways you could. I mean, you needed to draw it away from that opening thing, right? And that was the best thing you could think of. Like you could throw a rock over there. You know how many echoes there are in a fucking big empty warehouse like building?
I know.
You throw a rock.
Yeah.
You throw something. Fucking. Well, she didn't have shoes. Right? Anything. Anything. Throw anything. If you scream really loud, it's gonna echo far away in the
I know,
corners.
and she hears that there's something wrong with them before she even gets in. So why wouldn't you make noise outside of the building to draw them away?
Yeah, shake those bottles and cans that were on the gate. Anything.
Yep.
I feel like this whole movie just sloppy writing. And that's, I think, what my main issues is. Like, this could have been so much better. And I know that every film that we talk about, I'm always like, this could have been so much better.
Yeah,
but
Paul
this,
doesn't really
but
like
this-
movies. He
but
just-
this literally could have been better with simple things that are like, this does not make sense.
I had a good time with it. I liked it.
I say definitely watch it if you've watched the first one.
Yeah.
But expect it to be worse than the first one. I'm going to say that it's worse than the first one for me. And if they make a third one, if they make a third one, it's going to have to be like monumentally amazing for me to be like, all right, that's a good trilogy.
I haven't heard if they're making a third one, but I do know that there is another one that has been greenlit that is just set in the same universe.
The spin-offs already?
Yeah, there's spin-offs. There were spin-offs after the first one
Fuck
before
you,
second even
Jim.
came off.
But see, that's again, like I said, with that one, it's just they're gonna have to do a third one to close everything up because now they gotta go get the family back together. And that's probably what's gonna be the plot of the third one. It's like, oh,
So
let's
this
get the
whole
fam-
trilogy is going to take place in 1 week.
And I really feel like, I don't know, why do they just end? Like,
Yeah, they just end.
wrap it up. Because maybe that's why I don't feel like.
Well, if they had wrapped it up, we wouldn't have this whole baby situation
Yes.
to begin with.
This is
so
true.
They're not good at wrapping shit
but,
up.
like, even you said, if this is just supposed to be like the second one in a trilogy, right? Scream 2 still had an ending.
Yes.
Halloween
You know,
Kills still
Halloween-
has an ending.
Yes. Like,
yes.
You have to give us
It's-
some sort of sense of ending of this movie. You can't, even if
Give
you
us
are planning on a
closure, damn
3,
it.
you
And
can't
yeah,
just.
it may not be the ending you like. It may not be the ending you want, but there's still a fucking ending in
There's
Halloween
closure.
Kills. And in any second movie of a planned trilogy, it's always set up. Like people didn't really care for the second Matrix, and I'm like, it's setting up the third one. It ends with the cliffhanger because you don't know what's going to happen because we know there's going to be a third one.
Yes.
Which I'm glad that they were like, well, we're going to release that in a month from now. We're not going to
Yeah.
make you wait fucking, for a few years or whatever. So, I mean, I've always loved that about The Matrix when they came out in the movies. The second and third came out like a month apart because they're like, fuck it, let's finish this.
That's what I really liked about the Fear Street trilogy, because then you don't have to wait months
Yeah.
and months and months.
Especially if you're going to have a cliffhanger of a ending on the second one, knowing that, okay, we're going into the third. It's going
Yeah.
to all make sense. It's all going to tie together.
Yeah, and I think you
except
only
for
had to
the-
wait like a week for the third one to come out.
Except for The Matrix, because it's the third one. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. We can talk about that some other day. if you
Okay.
want. I'm not happy with
Well,
it.
that was A Quiet Place too, and a lot of other nonsense that probably didn't need to be there.
In the movie, you mean? Or
No,
just
in this
us?
podcast.
We have the list now.
Yes.
We'll pick something.
We
Nice.
will definitely pick something. We
Unless
still got
you
Conjuring
listeners
3,
have
Don't Breathe 2.
Don't Breathe 2, Candyman that just came
Midnight
out.
Mass.
Yep.
Well, there's a few of them in there.
Halloween
Okay.
Kills. We're planning on doing that November 23rd, just so you're aware.
Yes.
November
Is that your
23rd.
Thanksgiving episode?
Thanksgiving episode. Yes.
What better
That's
than to
not
have family
cranberry
together?
sauce.
There you go.
Oh, the cranberry sauce.
That's not cranberry sauce.
No. All right.
We need to
we'll
watch this.
see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.